Anyways, guys, first Sunday of football we have in December. That obviously means playoffs are starting to kick up. Our first couple of games aren't great, we'll be talking about today, but we still got to prick like 12, so let's get this thing going. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Please like and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoy this week's predictions and all the games we do, in fact, have to go through today, as we have 12 on tap for this Sunday. As the, again, last teams with bye week, we'll talk about in a little bit. Again, we'll be going on this week. We obviously had a huge Thursday nighter that just went down a couple days ago. Monday night is also a monster game. We have a lot of crucial games this week on the schedule that will definitely change the playoff landscape tremendously. With that said, though, the first game we'll be going through today is the Dolphins and Jets. Neither one of these teams are probably going to make the playoffs. Jets, I think, are they already eliminated? No, technically not. Under 1% chance. And if they win, they're still under a 1% chance. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to go on with the Jets here. They're coming off wins out of the last 5 games of that 0-7 start. Tyrod Taylor, of course, has done a good job for them the past 2 games he started. Again, they lost 23-10 to a Ravens squad that was, I guess, better than them. Again, that's not really saying a lot. And then, again, last week they stunned the Falcons with that 27-24 game-winning kick by Nick Folk. There to win at home. They've now won 3 straight home games, if I'm not mistaken, after, again, losing their first 5 or something. No, that's not true. You get the point. They haven't won a lot of home games. They've won their last 3 home games, though. And they'll be facing off against a Dolphins team that has won 4 of the last 5 games and is not and is on a 3-game winning streak. They have a shot to get to 6-7. Yeah, you know, before next week when they will be heading to Pittsburgh for that crucial Monday nighter, which could obviously cement both those teams' playoff spots. Again, even for them, there's a very, very not real likely chance they'll make the playoffs because they'd have to finish 10-7, and I mean, well, unless the Chargers lose out or something, probably not going to happen. So Dolphins, you're probably not going to make the playoffs, but the fact you're still technically relevant is something. They have, of course, already did beat the Jets earlier in the season at Miami, where, again, I think the College Football Playoff National Championship is going to be. The Dolphins won that one 31-12. No, that was wrong. That was 2 years ago. What was it, 27-21, I think? Justin Fields had a touchdown that game again when he was back starting. Also, the game that marked Tyreek Hill's end to his season, maybe the end of his career. We'll see what happens, again, this offseason with all that. But, again, for the Dolphins, it's definitely a game they're going to want to win to, again, at least stay maybe in contention, relevance. Who really knows? This game, though, will be at 1 o'clock on CBS, NFL Plus, and Paramount Plus will be the ways you guys can stream it. Also, this week's schedule is we have 8 games in the early window, 3 games in the late window, and then the Sunday nighters, 12 games in total. Not really anything too crazy with that. I think it's split down the middle for all that as well. Weather for this game, you can see it's going to be 40 degrees, pretty generous. Also, it's going to be cloudy for early December. Again, look at the map. It's going to be in orange because, again, not much country's getting this game at all, this area. And then, of course, you can see right here with the, again, Southern Florida there. You got Spiritas, Adam Archuleta, and GT Kingo Bala calling this game for the Dolphins in their starting lineup. Why aren't we zoomed in? What are we doing? Lock in here. But anyway, is this even good enough? We're geeked. What are we at? That's better. What the fuck? I like this. Anyway, though, you guys can see Tua is a quarterback. Yeah, this is really not good. Devon Achane's a running back with Ollie Gordon. Again, they got, Aaron Brewer's the only questionable guy on offense. Other than that, they're basically healthy. Defensively, Matt Judon's going to be starting here over Chop Robinson. That's kind of interesting. But again, Ifeatu Melifonwu and Elijah Campbell are both questionable if those guys play. Rest of the defense is healthy. And, of course, you do have Riley Patterson and Jake Bailey, Kieran Punter. Moving over to the Jets now. Offensively, John Mechie and Donnie Mitchell have both emerged as, again, competent receivers for them after, again, Alan Lazard is what they look to. It was a rough couple of weeks there in the middle of the season. Brees Hall's not coming off his best of games, but still wasn't too bad. Now, he actually played pretty well. All lines been playing better and better. Defensively, you guys can see Tony Adams is questionable. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. will not be playing, so Jasir Taylor will start in the slot. Quantas Stigers, a back cornerback, is also questionable, and that's really about it for this defense. You guys can see Nick Folk and Austin McNamara will be doing the kicking and the punting. For this game, as you guys can see, the Giants, Patriots, Panthers, and Niners are all in the bye. Again, we look at the playoff picture for all these teams. Giants are probably going to lose the bye week. Patriots are going to be in the number one seed unless the Broncos win, which we'll talk about later. And then also we have the Panthers, who are in the playoff hunt. Again, a game back of the Lions, but again, already had head-to-head with the Cowboys. They did tie a game, kind of weird there. And then also the Niners, who are, again, holding that last wild card spot with a good chance of winning next week, too. But, again, for this game specifically, guys, I'm going to put this one in decent. Now, I'm putting... this is tough. I'm putting this game in decent because I think this will be a game that will be close, and I think the Jets offensively will be at least somewhat decent. I do expect the Dolphins to move the ball, though, which I think is the one thing that could hurt the Jets in this game. But, honestly, guys, despite it being definitely one of the weaker games this week, I don't really think it's as bad as some people want us to think it is. So, it's not a good game by any means, but, yeah, I'm going to put it there. And then we move over to all this stuff. Come on. Well, let's see where we're at. Right here. I'm going to pick the Dolphins to win this game because I want them to stay relevant. More relevant teams, the better it is down the stretch. I'm going to say they win this one 24-17. It should be a decent game. As long as Tua doesn't throw 4 picks, they should be okay in winning this game. Also, guys, last week after losing my first 4 games, other than the Rams game, I got all the other 11 picks right. It's definitely been a rough year for predictions, but again, we've been pretty solid the past couple weeks, especially with that stretch I had last week. That's all I have from you guys in this one. Our next game is a little bit more crucial, but I think it's actually even easier to predict. And arguably the biggest game of the early window besides at least one of the games we'll get to later. We have the Indianapolis Colts heading to Duval County to take on the Jags in what will probably be a miserable day for them as they come in losing 3 out of their last 4 games, including a tough loss last week, which saw them score under 20 points for the first time this season, hosting the Texans in what was a 20-16 loss. We all know about the injury for Daniel Jones, as he was pretty much immobile last week, but still was able to push the ball downfield somewhat. But again, at the end of the day, the fact they couldn't run the ball in the offensive line really couldn't get much going against a really good Texans front really made it hard for them. On top of that, their defense was somewhat pedestrian against the Texans offense that really didn't look that impressive last week whatsoever. But at the end of the day, here for this Colts team, they're going to have to do something they have not done since 2014 if they want to beat a Jag squad that is looking really solid right now, considering that this team was 6-4 just a couple weeks ago, but have put together 5-4, but put together 3 really important performances over the Chargers, Cardinals, and now who they beat last week. They beat somebody. Oh, the Titans, to get to an 8-4 spot and be in a really good shot to make the playoffs. At the moment, they are leading the AFC South at 8-4, and they are really looking with a win to be 9-4 and put themselves in a very solid position to win the division, as they've already beaten the Texans, already finished their season with the Texans, and if they beat this Colts team, this could set themselves up to win this entire division, as the Texans and Colts will play once again later in the season. But for this Jags team, their schedule is definitely not the easiest, but you guys can see the Jets, Broncos, Colts, and they have 2 very winnable games, and I'm going to argue, guys, this Colts and Jags game will clinch the division. So the Jags very pleasantly surprised how their season's gone up to this point, but again, at the end of the day, when it comes down to Trevor Lawrence, what is he going to do in these big games? But I don't really know if he'll have to do a lot, considering this Colts team has suffered some very detrimental losses to this franchise over the past 10 years. They have not won in Duval County since 2014. It is the worst streak in the NFL. I have mentioned it every year I've covered the NFL up to this point. Now it's the 5th year of it, something like that. As again, look back to that 2021 season, the Colts lost to the Jags 26-11, blew a playoff spot. That was an insane game. Again, ended the 1-year Carson Wentz stint with that team being. There's just a lot of crazy things that went on with this matchup here. But nonetheless, the Jags team probably won't be losing anytime soon against this team. This game, at least here. This game will be at 1 o'clock on CBS now. NFL Plus and Paramount Plus will be either way. You guys can stream it. For this, it's going to be 61 degrees, so definitely not the coldest game by any means. But again, you can see it's going to rain. It's not going to be fun. I expect that to definitely be a huge factor in this one. Also, for the Colts right now, they are technically still holding a playoff spot, but again, if the Texans are able to win on Sunday night, I think the Colts would be bounced, maybe. Yeah, they should be, because again, they don't have the head-to-head over the Texans. Something like that. Again, on top of that, though, you guys can see we have it in blue. You can see Houston's obviously getting this game, Indy area, and then obviously the Jacksonville area. All 3 of those teams crucial there, and I don't know why the Titans are getting it, but oh, they have a game. No, they don't. I'm actually confused. But whatever. For the Colts, you guys can see injured Daniel Jones at quarterback, John Taylor, Amir Abdullah in the backfield. Receiving-wise, they're healthy. Alec Pierce has been absolutely awesome this season. Tyler Warren's kind of regressed at tight end, but he's still been great, really good as a rookie. Offensive line is healthy and will have to step up big time in this game. Tyquan Lewis is out off the edge, their secret weapon. Sauce Gardner won't be playing again in this game. He injured his calf last week. Also, the linebackers are healthy, and Blake Rupi and Rigoberto Sanchez will be doing some things. Over to the Jaguars now. You look at their offense. Parker Washington is questionable. He has been a big player for them in terms of, again, their consistency at receiver this season. Walker Little's out. I will say watch for Travis Etienne Jr. in this game. I expect him to have a monster day. Also, Trevor Lawrence coming off his best game in years defensively. Eric Armstead, Trayvon Walker are both questionable. Also, I was going to say, albeit it was against the Jags, but still. Not the Jags. What am I talking about? The Titans there in Nashville last week. Other than that, though, Andrew Wingard's out of free safety. Raywan Lane III. Hopefully he doesn't play. We'll see. Cam Little and also Logan Cook, our kicker and punter. Parker Washington's questionable. Punt returner, as we already know, he is questionable. Rashard Chuden, Raj Matichik round things out there. For this game, this is a game that I'm going to put in entertaining. It is not a must-watch. Jesus, it's not a must-watch for me, despite, again, having a lot of implications towards it. The reason I don't put it there is because I think I know what's going to happen. So, yeah, no, it's a must-watch. They're both 8-4. I'm not going to be crazy. It's probably the worst 8-4 matchup you could have in the league. No, there's definitely worse. But still, you get the point. That's what it is. For who's going to win this one? Again, the fact 55% of people and the fact they're favored, the Colts are, that's just absolutely ridiculous, guys. The the Colts have not won in Duval County at the Jaguars since 2014. Why would that change? I'm going to say they win this one 31-7 in blowout fashion. Embarrassing loss for the Colts as their season continues to go downhill, and the Jags get closer and closer to maybe winning this division. And our next game on tap, despite having the worst records between both these teams in a pretty decent bit, is a definitely a game that has had some very close finishes over the past 4 or 5 years. Honestly, no. If you really think about it, the past 5 years. Yeah, there we go. As the Saints will be traveling to Tampa to finish off their season series against the Bucs. This Bucs team already beat the Saints in New Orleans 23-3 earlier in the season, in which kind of a stretch that, again, highlighted this offense's inability to score. As really since that Week 7 game on that against that Lions team back in, back on that Monday night, they've really struggled to score points. Last week, obviously, they weren't too bad as they were able to beat the Cardinals, knock them off, again, build a 17-3 lead. Their defense closed the door on that Cardinals team as they got a much-needed win, snapped a streak, which again they had lost. What was it? 3 straight, and they had lost 4 out of their last 5, something like that. Bucs though are in a somewhat decent spot to win this division. They have a game lead at the minimum against the Panthers if they're able to win this game going into Week 15. But as you guys can see for the Bucs, their schedule doesn't get much easier as they get the Falcons next week on Thursday night. Will be interesting. But Panthers, 2 of the last 3 games will obviously decide this division. For the Bucs still coming into this game, like I said, solid win against the Cardinals, but we need to see this offense play better against the Saints team, who is obviously not having the season they would like as they're at 2-10. They just were eliminated from the playoffs last week as they lost in an unfortunate fashion in Miami. But thankfully for them, they don't have to travel that far to take on this Bucs team that they hope to upset. Even though offensively they obviously haven't had the firepower to really do that. But again, as I've talked about, these two teams, again, the past 4 or 5 times they played in Tampa, we'll go back to 2021, the Saints were 6-7, taking on was a 10-3 Bucs team. They upset them 9-0. Yeah, they shut out Tom Brady that year. I still don't know how that happened. This is a surreal finish. Saints, Bucs, 2021. I don't know how this. Literally, Tom Brady got shut out. What? Insane game. You guys can see what happened. But on top of that, for the Saints, 2022, the Bucs came back. Saints rose 16-3. They ended up losing that one 17-16. In 2023, they actually beat the Bucs 23-13. It was a little bit of a demoralizing loss for the Bucs because they should have won the division that week. But anyway, 2024 last year, Bucs and Mike Evans, very emotional finish to that game. Kind of ended the regular season for really the entire league. 27-19, the Bucs won that one. But we'll see what happens this year. As you guys can see, it's going to be on CBS. So we have Calvin Harlan, Trent Green, Melanie Collins on the call. It's going to be in green, so you can see the greenish areas are getting this game. Not a ton of the country is getting this one. For the weather in Tampa for this game, you guys can see it will be 77 degrees, a decent amount of wind, also partly cloudy. For the Saints, Alvin Kamara's out once again. Devin Neal will start. Evan Hull's also there. Kind of forgot he existed. Chris Olave is questionable receiver. He hasn't really played a lot. Talisi Fuaga's out. Dylan Radunz, if I had to guess, would start because, again, he's probably the only competent guy they have here. Justin Reed's out. Jordan Howden will probably start. And the rest of this defense is healthy. Kai Kruger, yeah, that's what we got. I don't know who's kicking for them. We'll see. I think, it's the Irish dude, right? The Irishman. Whatever, though. For the Bucs now. Offensively, Tristan Wirfs is questionable, but again, we already saw the return of Chris Godwin last week, as well as Bucky Irving. Amika Ibuka has definitely fallen off a little bit, a lot, since that Week 5 performance. He's kind of hit I won't say the rookie wall, but something of that, again, like there. Defensively, they're basically healthy. Benjamin Morrison, the rookie quarterback who struggled, was questionable with injury in on the field. Chase McLaughlin and Riley Dixon are there as well. For this game, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't think this is the greatest one. I'm going to put it in boring. Honestly, guys, this is probably the first time I'm going to say this. I don't really see this game being that good. Again, they played very competitive games the past couple of years, but I don't really see this being one of those, so I'm going to put it in boring. For who actually wins this one, I'm going to say the Bucs win this one. We're going to say 24-7. It shouldn't be a terrible game, but again, like I said, I just don't really see it being too competitive or anything of note other than the Bucs taking care of business. Oh, boy! Guys, Mel Kiper's #1 quarterback against the Titans. I mean, I don't tell you guys, this might be the best game of the entire season, as we do, in fact, have the Tank Bowl of Tank Bowls. I don't think I've seen a game of this magnitude in a long time. Yes, the Browns beating the Raiders kind of ruined this, but again, at the same time, Titans coming as the worst team in the league at 1-11 on a 7-game losing streak with quarterback Cam Ward, who, despite having a good game in Week 12 against the Seahawks, last week struggled mightily against the Jaguars, a division rival, and now they will be heading to Cleveland to take on, again, another one of the worst teams in football with the Browns, who have a very good defense, who come in at 3-9. Obviously, Shedeur Sanders is their guy. Hopefully not, but anyway, we'll see what happens there. As last week, They saw themselves only muster up 8 points against the Niners and ended up losing that one 26-8. As Shore Sanders took a crap ton of sacks. Myles Garrett got a sack, who is now up to 19 on the season, and he is, again, very 4-sack striking distance of breaking the NFL record, which is obviously what we're going to be watching for in this game. But nonetheless, the Titans have not been here since 2019. That was an absolute blowout. I think the Titans won that one 43-13. That was the year, again, they made it to the AFC Championship. Still insane that actually happened. Again, I think they played 2020 maybe and 2022. They don't play very often, I can tell you that. Or not even 2022. They don't play very often. That's all you need to know. For this game, though, you guys can see the weather. It's going to be snowing. 34 degrees. Snow showers as well. So that should be pretty fun for this one. Announcing it will be... it's on Fox. My bad. Shoot. We have Chris Myers, Mark Schlereth, and I don't even know someone else. And you guys can see a measly amount of the country's getting this one. For the Titans, though... Offensively, Lloyd Christian, their starting center, continues to struggle with injury. Corey Levin will start. El Candyman or Shamari Dyke are probably the only guys you're going to be watching on offense. Again, it's really bad offense. Defensively, Jalen Armour Davis will not be playing. Marcus Harris will start, and Shai Tuttle is also out. On top of that, Joey Slye, Johnny Hecker, kicker and punter. For the Browns, yeah, almost. What are we looking at? I actually think it was an actual thing. But anyway, for the Browns, Dylan Sampson's questionable. Of course, he had a big week a couple weeks ago. Not really anything since then. Deshaun Watson has been ruled out. Okay, he might be. He's not going to play this year. There's no way, right? Shore is, of course, quarterback, though. Jerry Jeudy's a bum. Wyatt Taylor and Jack Conklin are both out. Katie Leviston and Tevin Jenkins will definitely be playing. I did not realize Cam Robinson was on this team. Mason Graham's questionable, as well as Mike Hall and Isaiah McGuire. Aiden Huntington's also out. Devin Bush is questionable. They're probably going to start this guy because Jerome Baker's been gotten so bad at this point in his career. Secondary is completely healthy-ish. No, it's not because Martin Emerson. But other than that, yeah, they're basically healthy. Andre Schmidt, Corey Borkas, Gage Leviathan. Why is he still playing? He fumbled like 5 times last week or muffed like 5 punts. Rex Sonahera, is that how you pronounce it? He's their long snapper. That's a good game. Okay, for this one, yeah, it's a game of the week. What else would it be? This is the best game we've had all season. I mean, you'd be wrong to say otherwise. But for who actually wins this one, I hope the Titans get shut out. If I can find the game, where is it? There we go. Browns 13-0. There's a score. Now we go to probably the saddest game in the NFL this week. We have the Washington Commanders coming on the NFL's longest losing streak, tied with the Titans, if I'm not mistaken, but on a 7-game losing streak as they head to Minneapolis to take on a Vikings squad that has a great defense. But I'm not going to mention their offense, as they come in on a 4-game losing streak and have gotten worse and worse play out of their quarterbacks every single week since they upset the Lions in Detroit back in Week 9. But for the Commanders, yes, they are 3-9, but they're coming off their best performance in a long time, as Marcus Mariota had one of his best passing games of his career, as they narrowly lost to the Broncos in OT in what would have been a crazy upset. Defensively, they've gotten better and better really just last week, as they put together a solid performance, just not good enough to beat the Broncos. As they head here to take on a Viking squad that's obviously not playing the hottest. But for these two teams, they have not met here since 2019. The Vikings won that one 19-9. They have not met in total since 2022. That was a game that the Commanders, if I'm not mistaken, no, the Vikings won, was it 27-20, maybe? Commanders, Vikings, 2022. What do we got to score on that? 20-17, yeah, I'm a casual, I guess. But, yeah, this game will be at 1 o'clock on Fox. It's Fox Sports as well as Fox 1. Again, no, it's really just Fox 1, I guess you can stream on, and NFL Plus, so yeah. I think we didn't mention it was also on Fox for the other game. Whatever, though. You guys can see neither of these teams are going to be making playoffs. Vikings technically get a shot before this past week. Yeah, not even going to talk about that. You guys can see the map. It's going to be in blue. Again, most of the northern Midwest is getting this game, as well as the D.C. and Baltimore area for obviously not known reasons. For the Commanders, though, you guys can see on offense, Jane Daniels will be back, which is a good thing. Again, when he's out there, it's fine. Again, I don't think they should have played him, but again, if this team wants to be competitive, I guess, for a season, that's all them. Taylor McLaurin's receiver, as well as Debo Samuel, both coming off really solid games. Their offensive line played very well last week. George Fantho is out as the backup tackle. Defensively, you guys can see Bobby Wagner's questionable. He, of course, had a big pick. Frankie Lou was a huge part of that performance last week. Drake Jackson's out, though, off the edge, so that really means they only have 2 true edge rushers in Jalen Holmes, who, again, is not a great player, and then also Preston Smith. The D-line's healthy, though. All right, defensive tackles are healthy. The secondary is good to go. Jake Moody and Tress Way are kicker and punter. And then we move over to the Vikings. And what they have going on is J.J. McCarthy off the concussion list and ready to throw 5 more interceptions. Christian Darrisaw, Donovan Jackson are both questionable. Is Justin Jefferson even get to 1,000 yards? He's got it, right? We're really trying to take our time here. I don't know. He might not. No, he should be fine. Defensively, Theo Jackson's out, but honestly, I don't really care. Will Reichard, right kicker and punter for this game. I'm going to put it in decent because I'm going to watch it. I want to see what happens. It's going to be a funny one to watch. But other than that, I mean, guys, like, let's be honest. This game means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. But, yeah, I'm going to put it in decent because I'm going to watch it. Alright, for who actually wins this one, I'm going to say the Commanders do. They looked good last week. I'd be shocked if the Vikings scored more than 10 points. Well, I'm going to say the Commanders win this one 26-10. And a rather disappointing game by the Vikings once again. And the final regional game we'll be covering here in the early window is not a game that really looks like it'll be that competitive, but you never really know. Any game given Sunday. You saw the Panthers go beat the Rams last week. What the Anyway, Seahawks come to this game at 9-3. They played a game last week against the Vikings. Not really much more than that as they recorded their first shutout wins in 10 years. But this week it'll be a little bit harder to do that as they have to face an even less mobile quarterback than Max Prosper. But for Seattle, they're again off to their best start in a while. They have a chance to actually take the lead in the division if the Rams stumble in Glendale again later today. Or later Sunday, but for the Seahawks, they're at 9-3. They're looking ahead. After this week, or next week, my bad, there we go. They will be hosting the Colts, and it will be a monster game again for Week 15. Then they have the Rams on that short week that Thursday night, which will more or less decide that division. Who knows? The Niners might sneak up again. You never really know because they're only like a game apart now, right? Something like that, I think. Yeah. But anyway, for the Seahawks in this game, this is a game they're going to need to win. For the Falcons, they're 4-8. They have not had a good season whatsoever. Before again taking care of business against the Saints back in Week 12, they had lost 6 straight or something like that. Last week they were embarrassed by the Jets at MetLife Stadium. Despite Kirk Cousins having a decent game, he really struggled in the last 2 drives. They were only able to gain 1 yard and with 2 3 and outs as they ended up falling in that game. For again this offense, they've looked somewhat more consistent with Kirk quarterback. At the same time, this team has obviously had a very disappointing season despite their talented roster. Seattle was just here last year and dominated the Falcons 34-14. And think at that point the Seahawks, if you think of it at that point, the Seahawks team was definitely worse than they were worse last year. The Falcons team was definitely better last year. That was a result. Probably isn't great. This game will be at 1 o'clock on Fox, as well as Fox 1 is what you can stream it on. Again, you can get on NFL Plus as well. For the playoff picture, Seahawks right now are in the 5 seed. Again, if they lost this game, that could definitely put them in the 6th spot. No, it actually be the 7th spot. Yeah, 6-7, because, the Niners. They're not going to lose this game, though, right? But anyway, for the map, you guys can see it is in green. And you get the Northwest getting this game in the Atlanta area. For the Seahawks, offensively, they are about as healthy as they'll be the rest of the season. Defensively, I really don't care because they're going to be fine. They're healthy. Again, outside of Jaron Reed and Julian Love, who I want an update on. Is he any update on him? Hamstring is set to return from injury. Okay, so he's going to be good to go. He's obviously had a little bit of a tough year. This is a guy in 2023, was probably the best safety in the entire NFL. Again, in terms of a value basis, not overall. Again, Kyle Hamilton's definitely a better player. 2024 was even better in coverage. I don't think he was as big of a playmaker. But still, that's all I got on him. Moving over to the Falcons. For these casuals here, Drake London won't be playing, as probably a good thing. Dylan Drummond, what the hell? This guy played for Ole Miss, right? No, Eastern Michigan, bro. Who is this dude? Bijan's a running back, too. He's coming off one of his better games of the season. David Sills has emerged as a dependable guy for them. O-line's healthy. David Onyemata is questionable. Bryn Dorless won't be playing. I'm going to guess Contavious Street will bump over. We'll see about that. And then obviously the rest of this defense is somewhat healthy. James Pierce, the first round pick, is questionable. DeMarco Helms is also out. Zane Gonzalez, Garrett Bradley Pinion at punter. And for this game, I will put it in decent because, again, offensively and just overall, these teams are both pretty talented. And I think that does deserve something. Much more than that, probably not. But that's what we're going to stick with that. For that. But anyway, Seattle's the team I'm picking because they need the Falcons to lose anyway. So, yeah, 31-17 is your score. Very easy one to pick there. So, earlier in the year, before the Bengals had all their injuries with Joe Burrow, this was supposed to be on America's Game of the Week. It's not this week, as again, Fox does have the doubleheader, and this will be Fox's first game of their doubleheader, so it is technically a national game. And as y'all can see, we have again, still a really good matchup, despite the Bengals being 4-8. As Joe Burrow in his second game back, second straight road start back, will be heading to Buffalo's undefeated record this season on the line against a Bills squad that is 8-4 and looking to continue to play well as they fall off a disappointing, again, Thursday night loss to the Texans with a dominating win over the Steelers, despite really not doing anything in the first half. They were still able to win that one very convincingly against the Steelers. But this is a Bills squad offensively that really hasn't found any consistency so far this season, and they're going to need to against this Bengals squad, who's coming off one of their better games of the year as they upset the Ravens 32-14 on Thanksgiving night. They saw their defense play their best game of the season and offensively be very, very smart with the ball, even though they really didn't finish many things in the red zone on that one. Nonetheless, again, the Bengals have played a lot of games for the Bills over the past couple of years. Technically, though, they haven't really played a significant one since 2022. And that was obviously no, that's not true, because they played in 2023. 2022, again, they played a divisional playoff game that the Bengals won 27-10 here. If I'm not mistaken, that's the last time they played here as well. But This game will be at 1 o'clock on Fox. Again, it is the first game of Fox doubleheader this week. You can see it's Fox 1 and NFL Plus will be the ways you guys can stream this one. For Buffalo and the weather, it's going to be 30 degrees. It's going to be snow showers. It's going to feel like a playoff game. Again, the Bills are hanging on for dear life at the 7 seed. If they were in fact to lose and the Texans did win on Sunday night, you would see the Texans in the playoff. Bengals, technically they can still get in, guys, because you guys can see that the Ravens Steelers will be playing. Technically, again, if the Bengals lose that game or win that, the Bengals win that game, they'd only be a game back. Again, they're only 2 games back of the leader of the division, but they'd only be a game back of whoever finishes last year. But anyway, as you guys can see for the map, it is going to be in red. Joe Davis, Greg Olsen, Pam Oliver being the call. It's basically the entire country getting this game. Again, with definitely some fragments in there as well. For the Bengals, again, offensively, they're actually about as healthy as they'll be the rest of the season. Only guy out that really out is Cordell Volson, and Dylan Fairchild's a better player, so yeah. Defensively, Trey Henderson's out once again. Miles Murphy will play. Shamar Stewart, do you have any update on his return? No, he's just a donut. I don't know why they drafted him. Defensive, rest of the group, again, definitely the most talented guy in the secondary, but he's not playing. Ed McPherson and Ryan Raquel, kicker and punter. Do you have any update? I think he tear his ACL. Didn't he tear his ACL? If we can get to that. I think he did, right? Yeah, I think it was. Whatever, though. For the Bills, moving over to them, you guys can see Joshua Palmer's doubtful. Tyler Shavers. Keon Coleman will probably get out there. Gabe Davis, again, is back on this team. Kind of weird. Dalton Gates questionable. Dawson Knox will start. If he can't go, and also Spencer Brown and Tyler Grable are also there. Joey Bosa is not playing as he's had a bounce back season. AJ Epinez will play anyway, but I'm going to guess they're definitely going to run to get Javon Solomon some extra reps. Terrell Bernard's not playing. Shaq Thompson will start at middle linebacker. Darius Slay is out as he can debates his future, right? On the did not report list Friday. I don't really know what happened. He just didn't show up. Very bizarre. But again, he's old. He should retire anyway. So, yeah. Secondary, other than that, is healthy. Matt Prater, Mitch Wisnowski, kicker, and punter. For this game, it is a must-watch. Is it a game of the week? Maybe. Maybe not. But this is definitely a game that again, you'd be ridiculous not to show up in. Even though the records are a little bit skewed, it would be ridiculous not to watch this game. For who actually wins this one, I'm going to pick the Bengals to upset the Bills here in what should be a honestly somewhat high-scoring game. Again, it's in the snow, so it's not going to be that crazy. But I'm going to say the Bengals win this one 31-30. Their defense doesn't play awesome, but they do enough. On top of probably forcing a couple turnovers, and Joe Burrow just basically putting his team on his back in this one, getting the W. Now let's get to that first place battle for the AFC North. And wrapping up our early window will be a game that will decide who's first place in the AFC North for now. Is he both 6-6 and 6-6 or 8? Yeah, a lot of 6s. There's gonna be some 7s after this game. Oh my goodness. Here in this division, as both these teams have had very disappointing seasons, Steelers have really struggled for a while now. They've lost 6 out of their last 8 games. And last week just saw them get absolutely thrashed by the Bills. They've now lost back-to-back games. They lost in Chicago back in week 12 to the Bears. The Bears or Chicago. I got that in my head now. But yeah, their offense looked absolutely putrid the past couple weeks. Defensively, they've also been disappointing. If you're a Steelers fan right now, it's not looking too hot. Ravens fan, also not looking too hot. Again, despite you guys winning 5 straight after that, recovering from that 1-5 start. Last week was a very disturbing performance against the Bengals as Lamar Jackson sucked absolute win on Thanksgiving and ended up handing them, again, their first loss in a while. Defensively, they still look probably pretty fine, but again, the fact that this offense is really struggling right now is a major concern for a team that needs that offense to play well to have any really help here. But again, Pittsburgh has played here last year as they do every year. Yeah. That game was a 34-17 win for the Ravens that started on Marlon Humphrey pick 6, and the Steelers lose the division. Yeah, that's basically what happened. But also, this division probably won't be settled here. It'll probably be settled in Pittsburgh in Week 18 if I had to guess. Who knows, though? Because the Steelers have a really freaking ridiculous schedule. I mean, Dolphins and Browns are 2 games they're going to have to win, but you get the point. This game will be at 1 o'clock on CBS. NO Plus, and Paramount Plus will be how you guys can stream CBS's featured game this week. Again, playoff picture, Steelers, Ravens, one of this game will be in the 4 seed, and again, technically for the moment, we'll be hosting a playoff game. Baltimore, 41 degrees, mostly cloudy for this game as well. If you can look at the map, you got Jim Nance, Tony Romo, Tracy Wilson on the call. It's going to be in red. Not as much country as you would have liked, as, again, the late game gets a lot of attention, but you guys can see still a lot of, a lot of country getting this one for a national game. Pittsburgh weather. Not Pittsburgh weather, my bad. Steelers starting lineup. Offensively, there's really not much else to talk about in the fact that, again, a guy like DK Metcalf's really struggled the past couple games, and the running game hasn't been good at all, again, as you might expect him to be. Defensively, Derek Harmon's out. Logan Lee, maybe Yaya Black will play. We'll see about that. Again, that'll be interesting to watch. Kyle Duggar's not playing. Chuck Clark will start. Jabril Peppers is also there. Kind of interesting the Steelers pick those guys up. Of course, Jalen Ramsey's at free safety, and the rest of this defense is relatively healthy. Chris Boswell, Corliss Waitman round things out there as well. For the Ravens, You guys can see their entire offense is healthy. There's no excuse for them to suck. Defensively, same exact thing, really. I mean, just don't play bad, I guess. Tyler Loop, Jordan Stout, kicker and punter. For this game, in my opinion, this is going to be an entertaining game. I don't know if it's really a game that I consider a game of the week or must watch, but it's definitely a game that means a lot. So that's what you get for this one. For this underwhelming one, though, I'm going to say the Ravens win this game, run the ball down the Steelers' throats, and then win this one 26-23. That'll be a score. It's not going to be a pretty game. It's going to kind of be a little bit embarrassing for both these teams, but the Ravens are going to be the ones who figure it out at the end of the day. And I'm going to be short and sweet with this one, as the 10-2 Broncos, who are coming off a 9-game winning streak, go into the worst team in football stadium in the Raiders, at least of how they've been playing recently, is they're at 2-10. They have lost 6 straight games, and offensively they have looked worse and worse every single week, as last week they're coming off a 31-14 loss on the road to their division rivals in the Chargers. Broncos are coming off of narrowly escaped win against the... not against the... Who did they play? The Commanders. There we go, in OT, 27-26. But they're trying to get to 11 wins, which would be their most since they won the Super Bowl back in 2015. That would be pretty crazy. Again, they're also, again, with the win, would be in the number 1 seed, as they do have a tiebreaker over the Broncos, over the Patriots, and also, again, mathematically give themselves a chance to clinch the playoffs. On top of all that, you guys can see that the Broncos have a... Yeah, they're in a decent spot for the division as well. I mean, technically not, but you get the point. Broncos, though, last year played here in Vegas and won 29-19, pretty much stress-free win. At that point, we'll see if that can continue here. This game will be at 4:05 on CBS, Animal Plus, and Paramount Plus. Will be how you guys can stream the lone game in the late afternoon window for CBS. As well, in Catalan, Charles Davis, Jason McCourty, and Adrian Ross will be calling this game again. A lot of the country's getting this game for various reasons. For the Broncos starting lineup, you guys can see offensively they're basically good to go. Defensively, DJ Jones will not be playing. This guy, or Malcolm Roach, one of the guys, they'll put someone out there to play for him. Again, you guys can see Nick Bonino, probably not going to win Defensive Player of the Year, but he has obviously had a very, very good season off of the breakout 2024. Well, that's Jeremy Crawshaw, kicker and punter. Moving over to the Raiders. There we go. Dante Thorne will not be playing, as well as Alex Backman, so Jack Beck will be their only other healthy receiver. They'll probably have to call for someone from the practice squad. Michael Mayer's not playing. Dylan Parham's questionable, as well as Jordan Meredith. The rest of the offensive line is somewhat decent there. Jamal. There he is. John Radigan will probably play if he can't go. Matt Crosby's also questionable. Tyree Wilson would start if he can't go. Jeremy Chinn's questionable. Lonnie Johnson, my guess, would play. Again, if he doesn't want to or something, who knows. Daniel Carlson, A.J. Kohler, kicker and punter. This game is an absolute snooze fest. I would not watch this in a million years, but again, if there was a game, even again, we look back the way they played in Denver, the Raiders almost beat them. I don't see that happening this time. But yeah, because the Raiders look so bad. This is a snooze fest. It was a snooze fest back in Week 10. Broncos, 20-2. Yeah, there's an insane score, but it's going to happen. And now moving into the late afternoon national window, the complement to America's Game of the Week will be the Rams and Cardinals, as the Rams come in off a brutal loss to the Panthers last week, as they fell 31-28 in a game where Matt Stafford threw 2 interceptions for the first time since he threw a pick since Week 3. Also had a brutal fumble to lose them that game, as they now relinquished their spot atop the NFC. But with a win and a Bears loss, they will be right where they need to be. Again, the Seahawks, though, again, in the early window will be playing, so that'll be interesting to watch in terms of if the Rams end up being out of first place in the division by the end of the day. But they definitely have to lock in here against the Cardinals squad that, despite being 3-9 and on a, 4-game losing streak, and having lost 9 out of the last 10 games, and really being a really incompetent team, having a quarterback in Jacoby Brissett that's averaging the most yards per game in the NFL this season, despite him not starting, again, enough games to really be counted for that stat, as he has just been hunking the ball around the yard, not really giving a you-know-what, despite how bad this team is in terms of the record. Defensively, though, for this Cardinals team, they're not coming off the worst game, as they kind of held the Bucs in check somewhat, as they ended up losing that one 20-17. Jonathan Gannon would definitely like to win this one. As for the Cardinals last year when they headed to Alec, and this is the first meeting, their meeting here. No, first meeting versus Alec, that was back in Week 2 of last year. Cardinals dominated the Rams. They won 41-10, one of the Rams' worst performances in the Sean McVay area. It was an absolute blowout. Rams started out 0-2. They ended up bouncing back that year, but that was definitely not a game that progressed any of that. But again, this game will be at 4:25 on Fox, as well as Fox 1 being the way you guys can stream it, as well as NFL Plus. But for the playoff picture, Cardinals are already eliminated. Like I said, the Rams are fighting with trying to stay atop the NFC West as well, trying to get back atop the NFC after that loss last week. You guys can see on the map, only LA and the Phoenix area getting this game. It's going to be Kenny Albert, Jonathan Miller, and someone else calling this game. For the Rams, though, offensively, they're healthy. Again, Tuju Atwell, is there any update on his return? Alright, so he's not expected to be activated. That's good to know. Also, for this defense, Poona Ford's questionable. They need him to be out there. Obviously, the run defense last week was subpar, and that was partly because he wasn't out there. Kel Witherspoon hasn't really gotten integrated back in this defense just yet. It was his first game back last week, but he didn't look too awesome. Kobe Durant's been moved to nickel. That'd be interesting to watch as again with Clinton Lake going on IR. Both starting safeties are healthy though. Harrison Mevis and Ethan Evans are kicker and punter for the Cardinals now. You guys can see Marvin Harrison's out as well as Greg Dortch. So Andre Basilia and probably Xavier Weaver, he plays. He's questionable. Also, Amari DeMarcado's out, so Michael Carter will back up Bam Knight. Again, Jacob Brissett, who's been throwing the ball around the yard, as he is at 2,000 yards this season. We'll be, again, probably doing more of that this week. Evan Brown and Kelvin Beachum both questionable. Paris Johnson, Elijah Furlot, Isaiah Adams, Josh Fryer at tight end, are across the offensive line. Trey McBride also, again, is one of the best tight ends in football, if not the best. Walter Nolan's out. Dalvin Tomlinson will probably start. The rest of this defense outside of Max Milton will be playing. It'll be interesting to see if they can bounce back this week. Not only bounce back this week, bounce back this season. Chad Ryland, Matt Hawk, kicker and punter. This game for me is going to go in decent because, again, there's definitely a chance it's an upset, but realistically, I'm just going to do that because I'm a Rams fan, let's be honest. But for who actually is going to win this one, I'm going to say my Rams bounce back. I'm going to say it's going to be a somewhat of a decent win, but at the same time, again, I'm fully expecting this game to be close and maybe going down all over the wire. Rams are going to have to earn this one, but I'm going to say they win this one 32-25, and it will end up being a pretty close game. And oh boy, one of the better matchups we've seen out of both these teams together in a very long time is the 9-3 Bears, the #1 seed in the NFC. The NFC North leading Bears will be hosting the Packers in a monster game here at Lambeau, as the Bears are coming into this game on a 5-game winning streak. There we go. And again, are coming off of a mini bye week of sorts as they beat the Eagles by 9 points on the road on Black Friday for one of the better wins this entire season. This Bears team is flying high right now, despite maybe not having the most dominant wins overall. Against a Packers squad that is 8-3-1, coming off their biggest win of the season as they went to Detroit on Thanksgiving and won that game, again, maintaining a 10-point lead for most of it. It's safe to say that both these teams are really trying to take hold of this division. This is, again, the game they'll be able to do it in. As you guys can see in the playoff picture, Bears are the #1 seed in the NFC. Is that going to probably stay? Absolutely not, but you never really know. And then we can see the Packers are in the 6th seed, trying to move it up top the NFC North. But for this game specifically, you guys all know that this is, again, one of the bigger rivalries in a while. The Packers, of course, have had the Bears number for a while now. But again, last year when they played in Week 18, the Bears did upset them 24-22. It really didn't mean much for the Packers. Bears snapped a 10-game losing streak at that point. Seeing how things happened last year. But when they actually played back in, what was it, Week... I can't even tell you when the Packers and Bears played, when it actually mattered. It's just not coming to me right now. No, let's go back to last year. Where's the game? There we go. Packers barely beat the Bears in that game. So, again, they've been very competitive the past last year with Caleb Williams and all that. This game, though, with it being on America's Game of the Week, will be at 4:25 on Fox. You can stream it on Fox 1 as well as NFL Plus. It is a big game, without a doubt. Weather for this game continues to be 20 degrees, a little bit of wind. It's also going to be partly sunny. It's going to be an NFC North matchup. By the time this game's over, it'll probably be in the single digits. Map, it's the entire game map. You got Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, Tom Renault, the whole shebang on America's Game of the Week for this one. Bears starting lineup. Romanunze's out. Alame Zaccheaus, Devin Duvernay in the backfield, but we all know the true identity of this offense, DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai at running back. This offensive line has gotten even better than they have been, obviously, early in the season. They are a very, very good group. Defensively, Ruben Hypolite is out at will linebacker. Caleb Williams, he's even shot to the 4,000 yards. He needs 1,300. Let's do some math here, quick math. 1,300 divided by 5. That's 260 yards per game, which is not easy to do. So, maybe he'll do it. Will he? Probably not, but who knows? So, other than that for the Bears, other than that for the Bears, Tyreek Stevenson's out as he was already benched, something like that. Again, with GJ there as well. Kyler Santos, Torrey Taylor at kicker and punter. Now moving over to Green Bay. For their offense, Matthew Golden's questionable. Other than that, again, the rest of this offense is basically healthy. For this defense, you guys can see Javon Burlard's questionable as well as Nate Hobbs. But other than that, they're pretty much healthy, as well as Lucas Vaness being out. Brandon Manis, kicker, Daniel Woolman at kicker and punter as well. For this game, it is obviously going in a game of the week. It would be very, very bizarre if you didn't do that. Again, there's no other way to put that. For this game, though, I'm going to say the Packers pull off the win. I'm going to say they win this one, shutting down that Bears running game 27-24 in some sense. But it's going to be a close game. There's definitely going to be some mistakes. It's going to be a grinded out sort of win, as most NFC North heavyweight bouts are. And wrapping up the Sunday predictions and preview, we do have a crucial game, and basically an elimination game in the AFC playoff picture, as the Chiefs, who are going to look to run the table, will be hosting the Texans on Sunday Night Football. A Texans squad that is surging on a 4-game winning streak with the best defense in football, paying a visit to the Chiefs at Arrowhead, a team that they have really struggled to compete with the past couple of years. Of course, for the Chiefs, this is the worst 12-game start they have ever had. They have not been worse than 8-4 under Patrick Mahomes, but at the end of the day, this is a team that, again, is still trusted to win out and somehow get in the playoffs. Right now, they're only at 34% chance to get in. With a win, it would be up to 50-50 for them. Again, trying to get 7-6 here. This is a game that, again, very simply, they're going to have to win. For the Texans, they already took out their 7-5. Last week, they took advantage of an injured Daniel Jones and just pass rushed the hell out of him into a 20-16 win. Team that has already beaten the Bills the past couple weeks. It's a red-hot team. Offensively, though, still not trusted. So we'll see how that impacts this game against the Chiefs. A Chiefs team that eliminated from the playoffs last year as they fell for the second straight year against the number 1 seed in the divisional. This past year, losing 23-14. Also, they lost the Chiefs back in that division round back in 2019, 51-31. So yeah, Chiefs are definitely the Texans' number the past couple of years. This one, though, with again being the last one, will be on Sunday Night Football at 8:20 on NBC. As always, Universo, Peacock will be the ways you guys can stream this, as well as on the NFL Plus with NFL Plus. Also, guys, I think NBC Sports Network now is Sunday Night Final, something like that. I don't know. They have an NBC Sports Network is back. I didn't know that, so yeah, that's cool. But for this game, you guys can see playoff picture. Texans technically could be in the playoffs if the Colts lose in the early window and they're able to win this one on Sunday night. Chiefs won't be in the playoffs just yet, and if I'm not mistaken, the Broncos with a win would essentially win the division, something like that. I think no, maybe not, but yeah, the Broncos won yeah, I think there's a 99% chance Chiefs are winning the division. That's insane. And again, there's a very real chance they won't even be. They'll be out of the division race by Sunday too. This game though, 27 degrees. It'll be cloudy. It'll be a true playoff atmosphere. For the Texans, though, offensively, they are about as healthy as they'll be the rest of the season outside of Tank Dell, presumably not being back until probably, I don't know, is there any update on his return? Maybe, maybe not. No, there's just no, we don't really know. Defensively, Kamari Lassiter's questionable. That would be really rough if he doesn't play. But Tremont Smith or Amir Speed, I think, are somewhat competent. Kamir Fairbairn and also Tommy Townsend, a kicker and punter. For the Chiefs now, we move over to them. And offensively, again, Trey Smith and Jawan Taylor are both doubtful, but other than that, they are basically healthy. Defensively, they're basically healthy too. They're going to have to play really well. Harrison Bryant, Matt Rice, the kicker and punter. Brashard Smith's going to be the returner with James Winchester, a long snapper. But again, we look at this, guys. Both guard tackle being out, Jalen Moore will start is definitely a big issue. This offensive line is obviously not the greatest season. Over for this game especially, guys, I'm going to put this one in a must-watch. I don't know if it really deserves to be game of the week, especially with how these teams, again, especially how the Chiefs have played recently. But for a Sunday nighter, it's crucial. It means a lot, kind of what you want in these games. So I'll put it in a must-watch. For who actually wins this one, I'm going to say the Chiefs figure it out as they try to go on their quest of winning out. I'm going to say it's going to be a close game. It'll definitely be a lower scoring one. 16-13 Chiefs to keep their playoff hopes alive. Texans, again, definitely a little bit deflating considering the stretch they've been on. But that's all I got for you guys here. Enjoy the games on Sunday. I'll see you all for the Monday night prediction tomorrow. And again, check out the recap for all these on sometime on Monday night. That's all I got for you guys here. Enjoy your Sunday.
Been out there, it's not about plays. Something's up. Yep. Here's a first and goal. Williams drives it in for the touchdown. We talked about it earlier. They weren't great this year in the red zone a little bit. Teams have figured out how to defend all these crossers, but you know what? Just run the football. They have to defend all these great plays.